following review is not made for kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello to my subscribers, this is the TFangy, and we are now getting down to the nitty-gritty of this multi-part review of the Transformers Generation Selects Piranacon on Combiner. And for the next two reviews, we're going to be taking a look at the two rarest and most hard to find of the Generation Select X Seacons, and these two Seacons are the reason why they're the rarest and most hard to find is because, as I said in previous parts of this multi-part review, Takara Tomy released the Seacons in 3 waves of 2 figures each, and the third and final wave, which contains the last 2 figures we'll be looking at, apparently didn't get as much distribution as the first 2 waves did, and as a result of that, the last 2 figures we'll be looking at that combine into Piranacon are harder to find than the others, and the average price of these 2 figures individually, brand new in an unopened box, are going for on eBay is approximately $200 a piece. So currently on eBay, if you were to try and get all 6 of the Seacons that combine to form Piranacon individually, because these last two figures are going for about $200 each, the entire Piranacon combiner, brand new, will cost you upwards of about $600 to $700, depending on the prices that the other 4 Seacons we've already looked at are going for. So what makes these last 2 members of the Seacons unique is that Hasbro and Takara Tomy gave them both the exact same names, unlike the previous Seacons, and even the Piranacon combiner itself, also being known as King Poseidon in Japan. And these last 2 Seacons, Hasbro decided that the names Takara Tomy gave them were cool enough that there was no need for a name change. So first up, we will take a look at what is, in many people's opinion, the rarest of the 6 combiners. This one is slightly more sought after than the other one that we will cover in the next review. And so here it is, without further delay, Transformers Generation selects the Takara Tomy exclusive Seacon Tentakil. So yes, this is Tentakil, and Tentakil here is the main reason why I managed to get the Seacons for what I thought was a fairly decent price tag. And the reason why is because whoever previously owned Tentakil accidentally broke a small part of him off, and that's why they were offering Piranacon at a cheaper amount than most other collectors wanted for all 6 of the Seacons. Now, there is one slight imperfection also on Tentakil, this copy as well, and it is that right here on his eyeball, a piece of some of the yellow paint scraped off, and it looks like there's a slit there in his eye. I haven't been able to find any yellow paint that sticks to plastic surfacing yet, so I don't know if I'm going to fix that, and if I should fix it or not, since it might make it look even worse. But the main reason why I got Tentakil at such a decent price is because, unfortunately, right here where one of his legs attaches here, see if I can get the tentacles moved out of the way, a part of the clip that holds the leg in place broke off on this side. So here's a view of the unbroken clip right there on that side, and looking at it, I can see one of the reasons why the clip broke off is because it sits right on top. I don't know how my camera's going to pick it up, but it sits right on top of a screw hole. So the one piece that broke off didn't have too much space to hold on. And the person who I bought the Seacons from on eBay, they actually said in their disclaimer to be careful that when twisting this leg of Tentakil around, that it might pop off easily due to that broken clip. I'm still undecided if I should fill that screw hole up with something, maybe some paper or some soft plastic. I don't know. Oh, but yeah, because of that broken peg, Tentakil here, unfortunately, is a broken figure. But it's such a minuscule thing, and it doesn't really affect his transformation, not just between his combined mode for Piranacon, but it doesn't really affect the transformation between his robot mode and his beast mode. So I can overlook it. But yeah, Tentakil, his beast mode is a squid, or a mechanical squid, that is capable of walking on top of 2 feet. And the 2 legs are two of the tentacles that Tentakil has. He is, of course, a giant monstrous squid. I mean, just look at that face. I mean, that's just I'm sorry, but out of all the Seacons, in my opinion, Tentakil is the one whose beast mode face is the most hideous to look at. So he's got 6 tentacles here on the back of him. He's got these 2 larger tentacles that act as his arms, and because these are the exact same arms for his robot mode, there's the same joints there. If you look underneath the tentacles here, you can see his robot mode hands. So hiding his hands is all a matter of how you have the tentacles angled out of way. But yeah, he's got these 2 larger tentacles that act as arms, and then of course the 2 legs are his final 2 tentacles. So because of these 6 tentacles right here hanging off the side of him, just like an actual squid, Tentakil has 10 tentacles hanging on him. So I really enjoy that Takara Tomy is able to do that. As far as articulation goes, his squid head, technically it can and rotate side to side, but that's actually the swivel joint in the waist for robot mode. And yes, overall, I do enjoy how monstrous looking Tentakil is in his beast mode. For those of you wondering which figure Tentakil is a retool of, for those of you guys who are unaware, you might be shocked to hear this, but unlike the other Seacons who are all repaints and retools of the Power of the Primes, Dinobots, and Terracons, Tentakil here is actually mold mates with the original version of this mold was none other than Power of the Primes Moonracer. And infamously, Moonracer's mold was used up to 6 times to create more modern day figures of more female Transformers characters, and a lot of Transformers collectors who were critical about Hasbro and Takara Tomy's decision to just repaint and retool Power of the Prime's Moonracer into quite a good group of female Transformers characters. Moonracer mold came to be known as the Prime Wars Fembot mold, and so yes, that is what Tentakil is mold mates with. And Tentakil is a male Transformers figure, so comparing Tentakil with Moonracer, as far as them being mold mates with each other, isn't the first time that Hasbro used and Takara Tomy used the same mold to make both male and female Transformers characters. Another example is Titan's Return, Blur being retooled into Titan's Return RC. But yeah, it's amazing looking how the designers at Takara Tomy were able to take the Power of the Prime's Moonracer mold and take what's many have called that vehicle mode to be a Cybertronian limousine and make a mechanical squid out of it. But yeah, that's pretty impressive looking. So coming around here to the back, there isn't really much to Tentakil's back, and so that's why you can plug all of his accessory pieces onto the back of him. So setting them off to the side, there's the combiner hand, and Tentakil's sword weapon is this angled dagger type weapon. It's the same one that came with E-Wing, and that's because this dagger weapon, when you rotate it around, it becomes one of the blades for Piranacon's trident. And then for these 2 blue laser guns that Tentakil comes with, in the product photos, you're officially supposed to put them on the top of Tentakil, and then you can angle them forward and make it look like he has laser guns coming off the top of his head, so if his enemies try to bombard him from above, Tentakil has firepower to hold them back. One nice thing about these laser guns is that because on one side there's a 5mm port and on the other side a peg, you can attach them in different spots. I've seen a couple of photos where collectors, to try and make Tentakil look more like a slightly more or like a squid, you can plug the laser guns here on the back of his head and have them stowed away like that. And if you want to make a Tentakil more menacing, you can take his dagger weapon and put him on the top of the head like that. So he's a squid that has a bladed head on him. Not really much place to put the hand-foot gun and without taking away Tentakil's symmetry. But yeah, overall, I do enjoy this figure. I love figure. You can even move the tentacles backward and forward. I remember I've seen footage of the Transformers: A Super God Master Force cartoon, and when Tentakil was on screen, his tentacles, like an actual squid, were flopping and waving around all over the place, even though he was capable of using the 2 tentacles at the base of his body to walk on dry land. But yeah, it's just really impressive how Tentakil came out. And he is the only one of the member of the Seacons who can stand vertically due to how he's supposed to stand up here. So without further delay, now that we've looked at him in his beast mode of a mechanical squid, let's get Tentakil transformed and take a close look at him in his robot mode. Alright, and so here is Tentakil transformed into his robot mode, and you can see how he's a retool of Moonracer here in his robot mode feet. They're almost the same shape, and they're the same size as Moonracer's feet. And then here on the back you've got a 5mm port on one foot, and then you've got the filler piece on the other foot that make up the heel spurs. And yes, it really is mind-boggling how the Power of the Prime's Moonracer mold was used as is the base mold for Tentakil. And yeah, I just really enjoy how he came out. I really like the fact that Tentakil's head sculpt looks sort of like the Decepticon faction logo. Again, and in robot mode, same articulation as the other Seacons. The head can look up. The head is attached to the neck on a ball joint, so it can look up and down by about 1.5 millimeters, left and right, 360 degrees. Ball joints at the shoulders, so if you can get the arm rotated at the right angle around the tentacles that make up the tentacles on his backpack, then Tentakil can. His arms can go forward and backwards 360 degrees at the shoulder. Ball jointed elbows. He does have his hands can go inward at the wrist, and that is not a transformation joint because you keep the arms in the same position when you transform them into the tentacles of his robot mode. So that's an added joint that I think is carried over from the Moonracer mold. Waist articulation, which is not hindered by the backpack since it's on a separate hinge joint. The legs can only go outward that far due to how the thighs are shaped. And you also have a swivel joint in the thigh, but it's really stiff on my copy of Tentakil, so I'm not gonna use it that much. Hinge knees, and then of course the feet can rotate forward and backward that much at the ankle, and then of course you have ankle rockers if you want to get Tentakil displayed in a sprawl-legged position. And I haven't really pointed this out yet with the other Seacons I reviewed so far, but one thing Takara Tomy did is to go along with the weapons interaction gimmick between the Transformers figures, and it's now appearing in some of the Transformers Legacy figures. But there are 5mm ports galore all over all of the Seacons, and Tentakil is no exception to that. He's got 5mm ports on both sides of his feet. He's got one there on his foot, and then he's got 2 ports on both of his laser guns. He's got 2 ports there on his back. He's got 2 ports here on these tentacles hanging off here on the side of him, and then he's got 2 5mm ports. I don't know how you can see them. He's got 2 5mm ports right there on the inside of his beast mode legs that he stands on, and then rotating him around to the back, there's also 5 ports here on the back of Tentakil, and the one in the middle can rotate and point upward. So one thing you can do if you want to display Tentakil holding his laser guns, you can put his dagger weapon there on the back, and then the dagger weapon itself also has 2mm ports, 5mm ports, one there on the back of the blade and one there in the center. So yeah, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, if I've counted correctly, Tentakil has 18 5mm ports about him, including the ports that are on his weapons. So he is definitely armored up and ready for battle should he find himself surrounded by multiple Autobot opponents. And so, just to show what it looks like, there he is holding his blade weapon right there. Some of the ball joints, I said a moment ago, the swivel joints in Tentakil's thighs feel super tight. The exact opposite is true of the ball joints here in Tentakil's arms. They are really loose. I mean, with very little effort, I'm making them go like that, out and about. So now that we've looked at Tentakil in his robot mode, let's get him transformed, and let's look at all of his combined modes for Piranacon. Alright, and so here is Tentakil transformed into arm mode. And one thing I I can see why some collectors who did manage to get a hold of Tentakil when he was first released back in 2020, or was it 2021? I can't remember. But right here on the back, one of the problems with Tentakil and transforming him into an arm is that there's really isn't any place for the squid head and the mouth to go to, so your really only option is to have them just dangling here off of the back of the shoulder area. And then to go from one arm to another, you do have to, you can see right here, the tentacles are attached to the feet with these little pegs right here, and then the smaller white tentacles are inside to make the arm look a little more cohesive and not have too much kibble dangling off of it. But to transform a Tentakil from a left arm to a right arm, it can be a little difficult. But thankfully, the arm itself is on a separate swivel joint from everything, and yeah, there he is now as a left side arm. I had him as a that's a right side arm. I had him as a left side arm a moment ago. And I don't know how well you can see right here, but if you look right here, this little blue piece is a swivel joint that allows you to swing the squid head back and forth during transformation. And it's not, and the way it's shaped, it bumps into these tentacles right here in this spot where I'm pointing with my finger. So you do have to detach all the tentacles to get the squid head swiveled around to where you need it to be. And so you do have to detach all the tentacles from each other, and then to get the squid head facing around to the back of the arm. So unlike the other Seacons, when you transform Tentakil between his two arm modes, the left arm and the right arm, it's not as simple. It's not a case of just rotate the arm around at the swivel joint as I tried to do a moment ago. You do, to get the squid head to the back of the shoulder instead of the front of the shoulder, you do have to detach all the tentacles to get that swivel joint around without bumping into anything. And there are no joints, as I can see, to have the squid head attached in place properly. So yeah, out of all of the Seacons so far, Tentakil is the one who unfortunately transforms into the worst arm for Piranacon. But overall, once you get the arm in the position you want, if you want Tentakil to be a left or right arm, he can still successfully transform into an arm. So that's at least he can do that. Alright, and so here is Tentakil in his next mode, which is the Target Master for Piranacon. And so yes, for those of you guys who were unaware, all 5 of the smaller deluxe class size Seacons, in addition to an arm and a leg, they can all transform into a Target Master for Piranacon if you need them to be. One thing I found difficulty is that if you successfully shove the combiner port into the hand here, it is a pain in the neck to try and get it to loosen up and come out from there. So yeah, that's the only gripe I have with the Target Master mode, is how it plugs into the hand. But other than that, Tentakil does form a pretty decent looking laser gun for Piranacon. And I can see why now that 5mm port that was on his back in robot mode flips out like that. It's so for the barrels of the Target Master mode. So yeah, all in all, I do enjoy this gimmick of having the Seacons also transform into Target Masters. So we will now get Tentakil transformed into his final combine mode, which is a leg for Piranacon. Alright, and so the easiest transformation between all of Tentakil's modes is going from Target Master mode to leg mode and vice versa. All you have to do is take the laser guns out of that port that he was using for Target Master mode, and instead put the combiner foot in there, and then have the combiner peg pointing slightly upward. And Tentakil, unfortunately, all of the joints with how his squid head attaches to his robot mode thighs to form the shin for Piranacon when he's a leg. The tabs aren't that strong and they don't hold together in place, and unfortunately Tentakil is relying on friction to transform into a leg, and The reason why there's a tone of concern in my voice saying that is because officially Tentakil forms one of Piranacon's legs. That's for those of you wondering why the combined modes of the Seacons, why I haven't been showing them all in the same order, that's because I'm ending them all on the official position they're supposed to be for Piranacon. So this is Tentakil as a right side leg, and so to transform from a right side leg to a left side leg, just flip out the combiner thumb, the other side as a heel support. And so Tentakil officially forms the left side leg for Piranacon, and it can be a bit difficult getting Piranacon to stand up because as I showed off in my review of Snaptrap, the joint that actually holds the figures in place on the combiner foot, it's loose as well. So as you can see right here, with very little effort, Tentakil is a wobbly mess. And so the fact that he officially transforms into a leg for Piranacon, that's a little discouraging to see how wobbly he is like that. And then of course you can attach his 2 laser guns wherever you desire. Here, so thank you guys all so much for watching. All I can say is that for his flaws, I still think Tentakil is a pretty fantastic Transformers figure, and I do enjoy having him in my collection. So if you can find Tentakil at a decent price, then get him, because as the chances are, after you find him for a decent price the first time around, you probably won't see him again. And as far as I can tell, Hasbro and Takara Tomy are done with the Seacons. There's no plans for re-releases or secondary releases of any of these figures. So thank you guys all so much. This has been the TFN Geek, and until next time, you guys transform and roll out. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for all your continued support. And take care, everyone. Goodbye.